Hi, it's Tom from Lone Horizons. I'm really happy about how many people have watched the first video in this series and subscribed to the channel as well. It's amazing actually. It's really nice to know that there are other people out there who want to see more solo RPGs on YouTube. I just wanted to let you all know that I was using the mic on my GoPro camera to record sound for the videos, and I've since bought a proper microphone, but I recorded the next 2 episodes before I got the new mic. So you're going to have to bear with me with the sound for the next 2 videos, and then it should get a lot better. Hi, it's Tom from Lone Horizons, and we're back with Dungeon Crawl Classics and Dyson's Delve, the mini-megadungeon. So last time we created our 16 level 0 peasants, and this time we're actually going to send them into the dungeon for real. So to get started, I think they meet in an inn, in a tavern. They all know each other more or less because they're all from the same village, this village that's been raided by goblins over and over again for weeks now, or months even. And they've had a bit to drink on a Saturday night in the local tavern, and these guys have just decided that they're not going to take it anymore. They were kind of egging each other on, saying, yeah, someone should do something about the goblins coming from those ruins on the hill. And eventually they realised that they were going to have to do it themselves. So these 16 are the ones that kind of stood up for themselves and decided to go for it. So off camera, I bought them all some starting gear using their money, and I also used Une, the universal NPC emulator, which prints out really well if you want to print it. It's free. I put a link to it in the first video of the series, but I used this just to generate a 1-word character trait, kind of personality trait for each of these guys. So like Kunain, the dwarven herder we created last time, she is touchy. LL, the cut purse, is subtle. That makes sense for a cut purse, although she does only have 6 agility, which suggests she's not actually that good at her job. So that will give us some idea of how they're going to act when we want to sort of emulate their decisions that they're making. Oh, I've just noticed I forgot to get my dice tray out. Okay, I've got the dice tray. If you're wondering, I made it myself from the box for a Google Nest thermostat and some red felt that's got kind of sticky back plastic on the back of it. And it works quite well. Saved me some money, although I did have to buy the felt. So I don't know, maybe it actually didn't save money. So anyway, yeah, these peasants, they're all in the inn to begin with, and then they decide to get up bright and early the next morning, say 5 a.m, or like as early as they can kind of wake themselves up. We'll say it's the summer, so the sun comes up really early and wakes them all up anyway, and get going to the dungeon. So we'll say that the dungeon is like within a day's travel, but it will involve making a check for random encounters in the wilderness each time they go back and forth between the dungeon and the village. In terms of their first trip, their first delve, let's be kind to them. Let's go easy on them just once, and say that the first trip there and back, we won't do a roll for wandering monsters in the wilderness. Before they arrive in the dungeon, I wanted to just go over some of the rules for kind of procedural dungeon crawling that we're gonna use, because as I mentioned last time, there are some sections of the rulebook which are really, really detailed and are really, really great value for what you get from it, and then other sections where what's his name, Goodman, the designer, says other games do this already, just pick some rule set from another OSR style game and use that. And one of those things is dungeon crawling, as far as I can tell. So we are just gonna. I showed some house rules last time, but I was going over them and working on them, and then I realised I've got Old School Essentials, the retro clone of the old Dungeons and Dragons from the 70s. I'm sure you've heard of it or played it. And I thought, well, that has so much detail in it. I'll check like the dungeon crawling procedure in that, and it's there already. So it's all worked out for us. So I'm just using that, and they even have on their website this dungeon time tracker worksheet thing, and this has all the dungeon crawling rules on it. So a round is 10 seconds, minutes are 6 rounds, turns are 10 minutes, hours are 6 turns. That just makes it sound more confusing, but the main thing is that the dungeon turn is 10 minutes long. So these represent hours. Each block of squares represents 1 hour in the day. And as we do each procedure for each turn, we'll cross off these boxes. A W means wandering monster check, so that's when we'll do that. So that's every 2 turns. R means party must rest for 1 turn, so that's quite interesting. They rest for 10 minutes out of every hour instead of going to sleep and camping in the dungeon and things. I suppose some of them will have a power nap or something while the others keep watch and watch for wandering monsters. This has also got rules for torches, which I'm just going to use, just simplified compared to my one. So torches are listed here. They just burn for 6 turns and then go out 1 hour. So at the end of each block of 6, it says T to remind you to check if you've got a torch burning, that will go out. So there's that, and there's searching an area. Normally in this kind of role-playing game, when you're playing with players, they'll tell the GM, I want to search this room for anything hidden like traps, secret doors or treasure. But because we're kind of playing as the GM and the players, we want to avoid giving the players knowledge the player characters knowledge that we have as the GM that they might not necessarily have. So I thought we could just do a skill check to see when they arrive in a new area, to see if they think of searching it. And skill checks in DCC are what you would imagine. I've had a look at the rules. You roll a d20 if the character is trained in the skill that is appropriate to it. Otherwise, they roll a d10. Then you add the modifier that's appropriate. So for searching and spotting, that's intelligence. And then you have to beat or get equal to or higher than a difficulty challenge number. So DC 5 are really, really easy. DC 20 are really hard, and you can get, you can make even harder ones once the players are high level. It says DC 10 tasks are a man's deed. The weak and unskilled could not likely achieve these tasks. Example, kicking down a door, scaling a stone wall, or hearing the approach of a cautious footpad. So I typed these notes in this box here in the PDF. I decided that to think of searching an area for treasure, traps and secret doors would be a DC 8 plus intelligence roll. So if one character succeeds on that roll, then everyone can search, because they'll tell the others, hey, we should search for stuff here. And then once everyone's searching, it's the same DC to find anything hidden, whatever's there. DC 8 plus intelligence. And then the rules for traps I've taken from Old School Essentials as well. So if they fail to discover a trap in a room or corridor, tunnel, whatever, there's a 2 in 6 chance of it going off when someone touches it. So it doesn't automatically mean that like the first person in the marching order is going to be setting off all the traps, which is pretty good, really. Especially if you were playing this with a group, it would just be stupid if one player had to volunteer to be the one walking ahead and setting everything off. because maybe the traps are old, they haven't been used, or they've been overused or not used enough, or they've gone rusty or something like that, in an old dungeon. And so, yeah, I've got the dungeon turn procedure listed there. Enter the area, roll to determine whether anyone wants to search, then roll for the searches. If a trap is missed in the search, roll for each character to trigger the trap, and then check torch duration and wandering monsters, if appropriate. Now that we're ready to get to the dungeon, I just wanted to show you this that I made off camera as well, which is a kind of chart with everyone's vital statistics listed on it. Because I've got four sheets of paper with 4 character sheets on each, I don't want to be flipping through them all when we're in the middle of combat, slowing everything down. So on here I've listed, firstly, their gender, which I forgot to put a column for, their name, occupation, so we can kind of get to know these guys, even though most of them are going to die. I thought it would help to learn the occupations, what weapon they've got with them, their attack bonus, their damage roll, their armor class, their agility mod, and their intelligence mod, and their hit points. You can see poor old Earmoth the soldier, even though he's got a spear and shield and his armor class is 11, thanks to the shield, he only has 1 hit point, so he's not a very tough soldier, unfortunately. So that's just something I made to speed things up. So if you're doing this solo, I would recommend doing something like this, because it will just save loads of time flipping through sheets of paper. So anyway, we'll say they have arrived at the ruins on the hillside. They're outside, but firstly, we've actually got 2 entrances to the dungeon. There's a cave on the hillside here, and then there's a flight of spiral stairs coming down from the ruins on top of the hill here in this room. So the first thing we need to do, I think, is determine whether anyone will notice the cave in the hillside in the undergrowth. So to do that, we could do a skill check, and I would say that would be an intelligence roll, because it's having the intelligence to do it. There's no wisdom. There's no wisdom stat in this game. There is luck. So if all else fails, if you can't think of which characteristic a skill check should use, just use luck, I suppose. But I think this is an intelligence roll, and we need to think about who would be trained, who would be most trained in finding things in the wilderness. We've got some people with kind of outdoor occupations, like Janine the dwarven herder. She's the one with the pig, who's brought the pig along with her, the sow. Is she herding her pigs in a cave underground where the dwarves live, or is she herding them in a field? Either way, I think anything related to caves, dwarves will know about. Then we've got Ugmus, the dwarven mushroom farmer, so also a dwarf. Let's go down the list. Duin, the elven forester, he might be good at spotting it. Orsiet, a trapper, spends her time outdoors all the time. Blah blah blah. James the woodcutter, even he could do it. So who has the highest intelligence out of them? Let's see. I think it's only +1, isn't it? So any of the ones that have +1. So we could just go down the list, doing a roll for each. So let's see, Cunane. So we'll say, basically, these guys, if they do the roll, they get to roll a d20 instead of a d10, which is what the others would have to roll if they did. I'm just finding a nice d10 in the pile. So we'll check Cunane first. So the difficulty class for this, difficulty class, I think, is what Dungeons and Dragons calls it. I'm going to keep just messing up all these terms and getting them confused. So get used to that. Same with GM, DM, judge, referee, Dreamweaver, or whatever other RPGs call it. Okay, so yeah, it's going to be 10. So we need a 10 or better to spot the cave entrance. Kunai, 19 plus 1 is 20. So yeah, she spots it straight away. She says, "Hey, everyone, look, that is definitely a cave entrance in the hillside. Maybe if we try and sneak in there instead of going in the front door in the ruins, maybe the goblins won't be guarding that place. Maybe they don't even know about it. Who knows? I say we should go there." And I'm not going to kind of take a vote based on how I think they would vote on every single decision in the game, or we'll be here forever and we'll never get past the level 0 funnel stage. So we're gonna say they go for that plan. So they head over to the cave in the hillside. They can see down that there's a tunnel leading into this cave system. I think the dwarves and the elves have infravision, which I think lets them see heat in the dark. I'm going to look that up, because remember, I'm learning as I go, learning to play Dungeon Crawl Classics, because I've only played one-shot adventure before. Is infravision here? Yes, 52, 57, 60. Let's see, infravision. A dwarf can see in the dark up to 60 feet. Oh, okay, just seeing in the dark. Okay, that's great. And then I think the elf has it as well. Yeah, same as the dwarf. That's helpful. So they can see up to 60 feet. So these grid squares are 10 feet each. I've just decided that because it's a standard kind of measurement for dungeons in OSR games. So that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So they can see in a straight line down there. The dwarves and the elves all say, yeah, there's nothing in there that we can see. I mean, it looks like it's part of a bigger cave though, so we can't know for sure. So I think they're gonna decide that someone needs to go in there and scout it out in the dark. Someone who can see in the dark, maybe. Someone who is very sneaky. So we've got like LL the Cutpurse, but she's a human being, so she can't see in the dark. She can't like torch and go in there waving that around. Kunai though, the dwarven herder, her agility modifier is +2, because this would be an agility check. So I think, yeah, she's the most agile person in the whole team. So it's gonna have to be her. Everyone is like, Kunai, like we all know, like you're the sneakiest one. And she's like, what do you mean? What do you mean, the sneakiest one in the village? What's that supposed to mean? And they go, oh, you know, you just are. It should be you. So I've lost my bookmark in the skill checks page. Here we go. I just wanted to see what a good difficulty check would be. I would probably just have the average one, average adventuring skill check of DC 10 for hide and move silently, which are 2 thief skills. None of these guys are thieves, but we're just gonna without that thief skill, it's just gonna be a difficulty check with the agility mod. So but she's not trained in it actually, so she has to roll a D10 and add her agility modifier to that. This is kind of irrelevant because as the GM, we know that there's nothing in this cave. No monsters anyway. So it's location 1 on the map. And so we don't really need to roll for this, but we can anyway. Let's do a move silently check for her. So she's trying to beat 10, and she has rolled a 7. She gets a 9. So she walks in there making quite a bit of noise, crunching her feet on some gravelly stones on the ground. But it doesn't matter because there's no monsters in there anyway. So she calls to the others and says, like, everyone, coast's clear, you can come into the cave. It's a big cave in here. Let's see the description. This large chamber is a natural limestone cave with a rough, uneven floor. In the northernmost recess of the wall is a pile of animal bones, including an old goblin skull converted into a mouse nest containing 12 silver pieces. So there's some hidden treasure in here. So we need to go to our dungeon time tracker sheet and go through our process. So now that they're in here, they need to light a torch. Now, quite a few of them have got torches with them. Let's see, who's the first one? Maybe Kunane has one. Kunane has a torch. I mean, she doesn't need it though. So let's say she gives it to LL. I'm going to cross that out. And then LL is going to use her flint and steel that she started with randomly and light her torch. And that is going to light up, the whole cave, really. 10, 20, 30, see, that's 30 feet. That'll do. And I'm going to put, at the end of this hour here, I'm going to just write LL by the torch, so that we know that her torch will go out after 1 hour. Okay, so yeah, we need to roll to determine whether anyone wants to do a search. So to do that, we need the D10 or the D20 again, and we can just go through. Let's have a look. I think go through each one by one, with the most intelligent person first, which is Wige, the rutabaga farmer, with his pitchfork. So with this skill check, I'm not sure if anyone is going to be good at searching for gold. As it's searching for gold though, maybe the dwarves are going to be good at noticing gold. So we'll give them the D20 roll, and everyone else a D10 roll. So yeah, maybe we'll go with Kunane again first, as she's going to roll a D20. So this will be a D20 plus 1. She's going to roll, and she needs to get 8 or more. So that's 15. So she immediately finds the 12 silver pieces. I would call it gold just then. I mean treasure. So there's 12 of them. They need to distribute them between themselves, and I think, let's say, the first 12 people standing in line are going to get them. So I'll write 1 silver piece down on everyone's character sheet. The first 12 character sheets, anyway. Right, those character sheets are really small. It's really hard to write stuff down on them. Yeah, okay, so we've done that. Searches, yeah, that's that all done. So that took 10 minutes, 1 turn. So 1 turn is gone. On the next turn, we're going to be searching for wandering monsters. So we'll do that at the end of the next turn. I think wandering monster checks should come at the end of each one. So, from here, they have a few options for where to go. They're looking around the cave, the limestone cave, and they've found that treasure, those silver pieces that probably came from their village. So their spirits are lifted from that. They're off to a good start. And they can see tunnels, one leading off to the north, one leading off to the east, and one going to the southeast. Now it looks like, let's see, we've got, that's room 2 there, that's room 3. So that's 1, 2, 3. It looks like the elves and dwarves would be able to see into room 3, cave 3. So what is in there? Okay. Room 3, invaded nest with 3 giant ferrets in it, and the corpses of the 5 giant rats they have just killed. So I think they can basically see into there. We've allowed them 10 minutes to be searching, moving around in this cave here. But I think, they're gonna see each other. The characters in this cave and the 3 giant ferrets in this cave. But, I say, as I sit here editing the video later, we'll have to wait till next time to find out what happens with the ferrets and the peasants. I want to keep these episodes quite short because it just makes it more manageable to edit them afterwards and add in sound effects and things like that. So don't worry, I'll be back really soon with the next episode. And until then, thanks for watching.